can't think of that many examples of free indie titles transforming into paid games successfully. Spelunky, La Mulana, Super Win the Game, World of Goo, Eversion were all different approaches to this, ranging from almost direct remakes with new content to essentially sequels. Treasure Adventure World, being a paid remake of Treasure Adventure game from 7 years ago, is more of a direct remake for better and worse. What has been preserved and is somewhat enhanced is the incredible sense of adventure. While a lot of titles today draw inspiration from Zelda or Metroid, and things like exploration, new abilities unlocking access to new areas, and other concepts are a lot more common than before in games, Treasure Adventure World manages to keep the sense of adventure, of discovery, of something from the books and movies you loved as a kid. Get in a boat, swim to the island of your liking, and explore, find secrets, solve puzzles, find treasures. It's also simple yet so exciting and hard to pin down to one or several particular features that the game has, but I can tell that the game title is surprisingly on the point here. It also helps that the world is full of interesting details. There's a weather system, day and night cycle, every island has its story and unique NPCs with tiny stories of their own. It's not particularly complex and you still mostly run, jump, swim in your magic boat that appears and disappears when needed and hit enemies as you would without the details that I've mentioned, but it all adds up to enhance the experience. And speaking of that, the game is indeed enhanced over the original version with some minor and bigger changes to progression, really cute upgrade to visual style and animations, and higher fidelity music and sounds. Though, I would argue that a lot of new arrangements for the music are actually worse than before. It's not something you might notice while playing the game and not something that you will care about if you haven't played the original, but some of the tracks feel like they lack something that made them special due to the changes in the sound phones and instruments used. Like, where did the banjo go? Though, honestly, some of the tracks are an improvement, and after completing the game you can switch to the original soundtrack anyway. You also strangely cannot go above 1080p at the moment, which seems to be the engine limitation, but hopefully this can be patched in the future. What probably won't get patched are some of the things that were criticized in the original game but were left almost exactly as is in the remake. The controls can still be a bit floaty, the opening hour of the game can be very tough if you don't realize that you don't have to do some of the boss fights early on, and one of the areas will still probably make you a bit sick due to the nauseating effect it's using as a main gimmick. Also, despite some of the progression changes of the game, you still might get to the point where you don't really know where to go next because you've missed some path in one of the islands that would give you an essential item necessary for progression, and the game's hint system on where to go next won't really help you that much. Yet, despite all the things mentioned, I couldn't help but get back to the game until it was done, after which I promptly started New Game Plus, just to check how it goes, because there's so much charm, there's so much fun to be had in Treasure Adventure World that it's hard not to recommend it to everyone who loves games about exploration. So feel free to check the original free game first if you're unsure, and afterwards put your magic boat in the pocket and get ready to explore the Treasure Adventure World.